Retail and hospitality is changing, with often complex and fragmented systems combined with large volumes of customer data for businesses to make sense of. It's critical to work with the right partners in order to guarantee success. At Tratec Consulting, we help retail and hospitality businesses transform their technology, removing overly bloated processes and creating unified and efficient systems of working throughout. So don't just take our word for it. See for yourself. Tratec Consulting, the leaders in technology transformation across retail and hospitality.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the All Things Borough podcast. I haven't got the information, but we are sponsored by Tratec Consulting. For all your business visions, contact tratecconsulting.co.uk. I'll get that up later. But Simon, how are you doing? That was a terrible start, wasn't it?
Well, I was just going to say that picture behind you is a bit weird. It's a bit different to the other one that's not the normal one that's there. What is it anyway?
Well, like I said off there, I am in Poole. I'm in Dorset. This is my mother's caravan or staff. Well, I say caravan. It's a static home. It's more like an apartment on wheels. It's no big.
The long-suffering missus hasn't kicked you out, Shins. You've got to end up down there. It's not parked up on some road somewhere, is it?
No. Yeah. No, if I am parked up on the road, it's a very nice road.
What is it anyway? Is it like an exploding flower? What is it? The picture.
I've no idea what it is. No, it's just a flower. Yeah. I don't know.
5 out of 10.
Pictures that Mum's got around here of a dog.
It looks like one of your efforts at school, mate. That one. It went a bit wrong.
Mate, if I painted that, I'd be well pleased.
But one of them where you just like chuck the paint at it from the brush and it ends up like that. There you go.
Look, listen. It's much better than some of the paintings around here that she's got of her dog. That little rat thing that she calls a dog. I'm not going to say what it is because Steve Baker's got one, and they're hateful little creatures. Yeah. Anyway, how's your week been so far?
That's the end of National Art Weekly. So we'll get your thoughts into us at the club. Fine, thank you. Yeah, I'm at the office this week, so and there's no one there, so it's just me and a couple of lads configuring pads all week. So happy days, yeah, pretty good. So we're in shorts and flip flops all week. Happy days. And then I'm car sharing as well this week, which is quite handy. So we're doing our bit for the environment and our bank balances. So happy days. Yeah, I think I spent that at Greg. I think I spent the difference at Greg's at lunch this today.
Yeah, well, the less said about your dietary requirements, the better. I've just seen you pound at a donut in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, and other food outlets are available. Yeah.
Anyway, let's crack on because we've got a great guest on tonight. We've got Anthony Millerick, who is a new member of the management team at Farnborough Football Club. Anthony, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, boys. All very good. How are you?
Good. Apologies for all of that nonsense from between me and him, but we have to start it that way.
I've been warned.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. Yeah.
You're very polite, Anthony. Very polite. You're probably the most polite guest we've had on. No one ever asks us how we are because after we've done our bit, it's just like, for God's sake, I just want to get on with it. It's very nice.
We'll see how we go. See if I'm polite in an hour.
Yeah.
Right. Look. So you're like I said, you're one of the newest members of the management team this season. But we'll touch on how that happened in a little bit. But let's go back to your career. So where did it start? Have you played? Before you managed?
Yeah, I played. I was a youth team player at Kingstonian when K's were one of the leading powerhouses of non-league, or the top non-league side. But I was only youth, and I sort of touched on the reserves. And I went to America for 2 years. And then travelled around. I was sort of one of those international players. So I got taken to Holland, actually, to a Dutch Premier League club. But I failed a medical and was pretty much left clubless. Couldn't go back to America. Couldn't stay in Holland. And I ended up in the non-league game. And I would say for all the potential that was there, I absolutely bombed. I went to Basingstoke and I was terrible. I ended up at Fleet Town for a number of years. Did okay there at times, and then sort of flitted in and out of America. Kept going back, kept coming back here, and because of that, because I was only ever sort of here. I was here for 6 months, there for 6 months. Like any idea that I was going to go on and play at a level sort of better than step 3 just went out the window. And eventually I did end up settling back here, and because of that I ended up at step 5, and in the end I ended up at Cove, where ultimately I took over as a manager, and that's where the whole managerial sort of campaign journey started from.
Was managing something that you thought about doing before while you were playing?
Not really, and yeah. So I was always a great commentator, like a lot of players are, and I always had my opinion of what was going wrong and what was right, and what manager was good and which managers were speaking rubbish. And it landed in my lap a little bit. I for my sins, was planning on becoming a QPR season ticket holder.
Right.
It was the season QPR just returned to the Prem, and I thought, I was there when they got relegated as a fan, and I thought, you know what, I fancy that. And the manager ahead of me, who I quite liked, he basically got moved on, and I inherited. This is where you need to be lucky in football. I inherited a really good group who were seriously underpaid at the time, and we hit the ground running, and I hit the ground running, and with a Cove side that was probably lower mid-table side at best. We finished 3rd, and then we finished 4th, and we beat a lot of the fancied sides, and then we finished 4th again. And that's it. But unfortunately with Cove's a great club, and it's a good sister club to Farnborough. However, it could only ever go so far, and I probably didn't see it at the time. And that's when I made the decision to jump. And some might perceive it as being a sideways step to Hartley Wintney, but I knew there's potential at the club, and obviously again hit the ground running there.
Well, Hartley's quite a nice little club, isn't it? I used to play on the pitch up there. We used to for my Sunday team. We played up there on lots of times, and one of the lads was one of the coaches there, Rodri Jones. He was one of our players, so he was down there at the time. So we got in. Yeah, it's a nice little club. They've done a lot of work actually to the place. It looks really good now.
They well, from the day I got there was a rail around the pitch. It was enclosed by a hedge. There was one stand. I mean, don't get me wrong. Always had character. Always had, well, apart from a sloping pitch, it always had character. It was always well looked after. It was always well supported. A great bar. That's one thing I will say, is the bar is fantastic there. Win, draw or lose, afterwards, it's a good atmosphere. And but I mean, I didn't think it was a sleeping giant per se, but I knew what players were there. I knew what players I had at Cove. And by the way, sorry, I forgot to mention, Cove couldn't get promoted, and they told me that. And we were always knocking on the door. The season they told me, we were actually top of the table by quite a long way. And they said, look, we're not going to go up. We're not applying for promotion. And that's when I realised, yeah, I need to look for something else. And Hartley just seemed to be a good fit. Like I say, it was, for me, it was underachieving. Got there, and again, just hit the ground running. When I was transparency, I was co-manager. There was an existing chap who was there, a guy called Dan Brownlee, who's at Basingstoke now. And the pair of us, I brought over probably 60% of my then Cove side, who were typical non-league step 5, just winners, just out and out, very direct, very hard, a little bit older experience. And we mixed that with a lot of underachieving talent that was there, technically good. And it was a perfect storm. And we won the league by a long shot the first season, record breaking, broke FA Cup records, and beat sides we should never have beaten, like the Murphers of this world, 2 levels above. Narrowly went out to our first opponents this year, Eastbourne Borough, in extra time. Won the league by a long shot, but again, it's fate. fate just this seemed to follow me around for a while. Is we couldn't get promoted. Second season, kudos to the club because they backed us and we went and won it a second time, again by a long way. With a couple of ex-Farnborough players there, a guy called Steve Laidler. I don't know if you guys were around. Laidler was superb. Came in, changed a lot of things we were doing for the better. Demanded certain things, and the club had spent the money in the background, a lot of money to get the ground up to grading, and went into step 4, and that's where we first encountered the mighty Borough. We played Borough twice that year. Played them in the League Cup, but Spencer played a. I'm surprised you guys weren't invited actually, because he didn't play his strong. I thought it was Spencer in the Hampshire Cup. He didn't play his strongest side, and I think we won 6-2. And then we also met again that season in the FA Trophy. I think Hartley won 2-1. And we went straight up. We went straight through the league. It was a bit of a funny one because we knew we were going to. We knew what by the points per game we were already up, but they said no. Look, you've got to go through the playoffs. And courtesy of a Farnborough legend, Mr. Nick Cardini, who'd made the switch over to us, he scored. They'll kill me if I get it wrong. I think he scored. He scored one in the playoff semi-final. One in the final, the winning goal. Along with who else was playing that day that were Farnborough players? Jack Ball, Paul Hodges, Louis Paget, to name a few. So we got
CJ down there.
Sorry, say that again.
CJ there.
Not at the time, no. CJ wasn't there at the time, no. And then we and then into step 3, which is where we became direct competitors of the mighty Borough, and that's when the rivalry between me and Spencer truly. Well, there's a bit of needle there before, but I think it was only because we were the noisy neighbours, but without the money and probably without the ambition. But we had a lot of good players. I think who Spencer may or may not have been looking to take at the time, but we came up into step 3, absolute minnows, not much money, looking at every possible way in which to gain margins, and I think we drew both games with Borough. I think that season. I think the first one we were slightly fortunate. I think it was an August bank holiday, and then the second one was Boxing Day. Actually, again at Cherrywood, and Jack Ball scored in the last minute. Who else played that day? Mitchell Parker played that day. Joe Felix, I think, who little fullback.
Yeah, he's at York now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gone on Hampton. He was on loan to us from QPR at the time, actually. And we finished amazingly. It's probably the only time it's going to happen for a long, long time. Is Hartley finished above Farnborough that season. And it was wonderful. We finished 8th, I think, in the Southern League Prem with probably coming in as relegation certs, and we're a form team for a lot of the back half of the season after sort of flirting with relegation for a while. And then I stayed on. I probably did another 4 seasons at step 3. Left Hartley because I felt I couldn't do any more. I felt I couldn't better what I'd already achieved. Had some really good sides. The problem with which every manager goes through at some point, which is if you're constantly working on a limited budget and you're constantly pulling out diamonds from the rough or pulling on favours from the likes of Mr. Cardini, who dropped a considerable amount of money to come down and play for us. You're always going to be cherry picked. You're always going to be rebuilding a side. And you're always going to be up against it, and almost like who was it, King John, who you're eventually always going to be swept away by the tide. And I became tired, and I thought, right, I'll pass the baton on. And unfortunately, since then, this is not due to me purely due to me leaving or stepping down from that role. I stepped into a director of football role, and we got relegated the season after I left. But I stayed on. Again, I stayed on for another 2 seasons after that, but purely really focusing on youth development and getting players into the reserves, and then ultimately players into the first team or into senior football somewhere. And then that took me to this summer, and I was, maybe a little bit frustrated and missing the dugout and missing the changing room to a degree, but I was fairly content. I had no real plans on doing anything else, and then I received the phone call, and that was it.
So it was Spencer calling you, was it? Not you begging Spencer, please give me a job, sir. I need one.
No, so Spencer and my relationship, as I said, in the early days, it was quite frosty. But I think, we both then started respecting each other as the years went by, and then we end up in the same league. And yes, we were competitors, and yes, we were rivals. I was never really fishing in the same pond that Spencer might have been for players, albeit occasionally he would knock the door for some of mine. But again, that's football. And I think part of that might have been my own personal maturity, where I realised my place within all of this. And Hartley Wintney can't be... We at the time, there's no way that Hartley Wintney can be outbidding the likes of Farnborough and Spencer for players, and that sort of level of acceptance. And also as well, Spencer's been in the gig a long old time, and he's been in football a long old time, and we used to share a lot of information. We used to talk quite a bit about opposition, and just over the years, we've just sort of always had that level of respect. Even when I was director of football, not necessarily in the hot seat, Spencer used to give me options on players and helped each other out. And there was no animosity when you guys, us now, got promoted and beat Hayes and Yedding, and there was 3 or 4 Hartley lads that had come through me. There's no animosity. I was pleased for everybody. I was watching that on YouTube or whatever it was, however it was being streamed at the time. Jack Ball's a good pal of mine, and Louis Paget had done a bit. Mitchell Parker was great for me the first season he signed. So I wanted to see, and also as well, just by that, just the networking, I got to sort of know Jack Turner, Ricky a little bit, and Sam Deering, and just right, go on, boys, on you go. I want you to win it. I want you to get back up, because I think that's ultimately where the club belongs.
So just quickly before we touch on the whole conversation with Spencer, you say that you moved upstairs and become this sort of director of football at Hartley Wintney. You see this. Obviously, it's a big thing in the professional game. Every club has got one. I don't really sort of hear of it that often in non-league. I might be wrong, but what does it involve? What does that role sort of involve? It's always interested me. Not that I want to do that role, but it's always interested me what they do.
This is the thing. I mean, I because of what I'd achieved at Hartley I think I was in the hot seat in total 8 years. The role was kind of created for me, or I created my own role. There might be an element of that. So, and this is where I didn't really know, and I was learning on the job. I think my first season, the season that they got relegated, I was far too close to it, too emotional. A lot of the players were still sort of my players, and they would always run to me with their problems. And I think certainly the first managers that replaced me, because believe it or not, there are 3 management groups that season. I think they fell foul of that, and I was too involved. Like I said, far too involved. Still going to training, still watching, still trying to have an influence. And where really, my latter years, I really took a step back. And the biggest thing in football is accountability. And if a manager is not getting is not having their own way, then they're never fully accountable. It's the same thing with managers and players. If a manager does the best possible job he can do via the training sessions, via his message, via his recruitment, and he displays that in every which way, so the players understand what the management group want, then the accountability goes on to the players, and the players must perform to his message. And if the players do that, and then the accountability passes. The players don't make any mistakes, and they do exactly what the manager says in the method he says. Then the accountability then passes on to the manager, and the manager then must come up with something different. If the players don't do that, then the accountability is on the players. And likewise with the managers. So what I did as a director of football is probably my last 2 seasons, I just took a real step back and said, no, look, this is now on you guys. I'm here as an advisor. I'm going to give you 2 bits of advice a year. It's on you whether you want it. I'm going to give you the best possible tools I can in order for you to achieve. And by doing so, it becomes a lot. The conversation when you're talking about success versus failure, it becomes a lot easier. And so to answer the second part of your question, because I do waffle, I don't know if you've noticed that yet.
Yeah, we noticed. Yep,
rather you than Simon.
that's true. That's true. It's better than me talking. At least you're talking sense. I'll just talk complete rubbish. So you carry on, mate. You carry on.
The second part of it was it's all very good and well. Obviously, we've got an academy at Farnborough. We don't have a youth team. We've got ladies side, but we don't have a reserves. Hartley Wintney have, and there's a large cost that comes with this as well by running multiple sides. So as a community, for the community aspect, it's right. We are going to continue. We've got all these sides running up to under 16s. So we call it 30 sides at junior level, 300 kids. These lads need somewhere to go. So you've got to look at the youth team. What are the youth team doing? And then what are the development side doing? Can we make these pathways? This is the holy grail, by the way, of football. And I never really truly achieved it. I don't know many that do. So you get your pathways correct. All your junior club passes into your youth team. Then your youth team act the same way as the development side. They then pass up into that. And then the development players then step up, and they're bona fide players at that point. You want 2 or 3 a year in your first team. And then that is true club success. And that's what I was trying to achieve towards the end. I was less first team centric. I was more about these other lads. We got a few. There was a few in and around it. There's a few there now. Sort of my last kind of things that I left. The way in which the youth team and the reserve team, development team were operating, I really liked. It was something that I felt came from myself. It represented me. It represented another ex-Borough lad, a guy called Neil Woodyear, who was a coach at Borough under Spencer some time back. He was fairly instrumental in that, and yeah, but it was satisfying enough for me, and I enjoyed it. And occasionally, I was still dug outside with that, but yeah, but then Spencer sort of called me out the blue. Really, I used to speak to him and other managers quite frequently, and it's probably because I wasn't really first team facing at the time. I spoke with him briefly, probably in January, and I spoke to him a couple of times about coming over. I met with him, might have been last summer. It was either last summer or the summer before, and I was fairly close. And I think I just appointed a new manager at Hartley, and I felt it'd be unfair on that new manager. I've just appointed him to then go, yeah, look, you're in the hot seat. I know I've said I'll give you whatever support you need, but I'm going to go over to Farnborough. I think it was 2 years ago, in truth. And periodically, Spencer and I have had these conversations, and I really like. So again, I've liked the club for a long time, and I just felt when he called me, it was out of the blue. I just felt it was the right time, and that was it. And I'm pleased to be over.
And obviously, you've seen the success that we've had at the club over the last few years. that sort of fed into your decision making as to what into coming over? Do you want to be part of that success and help to make it more successful?
Yeah, partly. I mean, this sounds really cliche, but I like good people. I like nice people, and I probably stayed too long at Cove when I did 3 seasons there. But I did it because I liked the people and I was very comfortable. And in a way, them not applying for promotion did me a favour. But then likewise at Hartley was so full of good people, and I'm still loosely involved there now, sort of like kind of on the committee. Nothing to do with the football, obviously, as a conflict of interest, but just really like the people. And so we go back to when the 2 clubs were in the same divisions for a couple of years. Every time I used to come over, I used to get plonked in the well, I don't know if I just did it myself, but I always used to go in the Platinum Lounge, and I got to know quite a few people behind the scenes and where the players had been going between clubs. And I just always had a really positive experience. There was never animosity, no rivalry really, even though the 2 clubs were sort of dovetailing a little bit. That means a lot to me. And then also my dad's been, since I sort of hung up the managerial boots, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. He's been coming to Farnborough as much as he was going to Hartley, probably if not more. And again, every time he goes, he's always he really enjoys it. He gets treated really well. He always goes for his cup of tea, half-time cup of tea in the Platinum Lounge, and the girls and boys there treat him really well. And that was always, I've got to enjoy where I work. I've got to enjoy. Otherwise, I don't want to be there. And I've got to say, the hospitality at Farnborough is absolutely fantastic. And from a player's experience, I don't know if you guys know this or not. So players want for nothing. Mike the kit man does an exceptional job. Your boots are there wherever you go, and a lot of players have their boots cleaned. But then you turn up early on a match day, and there's a choice of food. There's an array of food. So rather than like the norm is most clubs, you turn up at 1:30, you socialise with the other players or whoever for half hour, 20 minutes, then you go to work. No, at Farnborough, you turn up 12:15 for a 3 o'clock kickoff. Food's laid on. Players can go with whatever they want. Same thing after. You finish after, and there's 3 or 4 choices of food, and that goes a long way. You feel appreciated. Going back again to your question with the football. Yeah, I think it does help the fact that Farnborough step 2, because for so long I was step 1. I was a number 1. I think what was it? Probably 11 years a number 1. I think it would have been hard for me to jump in with someone else at a level I'd already been at. So the opportunity to work number 1 in a fantastic arena, which Cherrywood Road is, what a facility that is, in the environment with great players, the players that are good technically, got a good pedigree, got a good attitude, and then around people, not just Spencer, but a management group that have all experienced, all been successful in their own right. I thought, you know what, that's a really good opportunity to jump back into the dugout side of things, and that's why I did it.
What's the kind of your conversation with Spencer? How did that go? And what did he kind of ask you to kind of be doing when you get there? What sort of things is he looking for from you to bring to the management team?
Well, I think Spencer likes. Well, I don't think. If you look at everyone he's got behind the scenes, as I said, each one is successful in their own right. So I've won a couple of leagues, albeit levels lower, but then sustained and did well at step 3. Steve Baker, coach, but former manager. I mean, people forget Steve Baker at Harrow. He he did a great job for years on not much money. I can relate to his experience, but he played a couple of big FA Cup ties where he got through multiple rounds and ended up away at Portsmouth, away at Northampton, I think, as well. He was, for a club the size of Harrow, he did wonders there. And the same thing goes to Neil Baker. Neil's is probably more high profile than Steve Baker and I, but Neil for so long was doing fantastically well with Slough promotions, FA Cup runs. He had, I believe, a couple of years ago, he had some serious knocks on the door to propel himself to sort of National League as a number one. So I think we're very lucky to have that quality behind the scenes. And the chat with Spencer was, look, we've got all these people here. The one thing that I think I can bring, the game's changed slightly as well, by the way, from my initial chat, which I'll come on to in a minute. But the one thing that I do, and I don't know how many people know this, but during COVID, I got very, very lucky, and a friend of mine gifted me a touchscreen. So almost Gary Neville-esque, what you guys see on Monday night football for analysis. And weirdly, I don't think many non-league clubs are doing it at the time, if any. I kind of become a bit of a trailblazer from someone who was admittedly a technophobe, and I was even in the Aldershot News and Mail saying I hate technology. It was a technophobe to all of a sudden, right, this is worth serious margins in football, having things on the screen that the players can see, going through their performance, put it on the screen, and then the visual reinforcement of what's happened, what can happen, and where we improve. Sort of become a bit of a market leader on that. So I've sold and gone out and consulted with some weirdly some top clubs. I'm down at Portsmouth next week. I've been to Slavia Prague. I've been around the place, and this is something that only started over COVID. And Spencer knew that, and he said, right, well, we've got this good screen which I sold him a couple of years ago, but it's not been underutilised. Millers, you know this sort of stuff off the back of your hand. Can you come in? Can you do presentations for the boys before a game? Can you outlay what has gone wrong previously in the last game? Can you put together something about the opposition, and can you demonstrate where we're going to go forward, how we're going to win this game? So, and that's kind of what I've done in a nutshell. I've given a secondary or third opinion on what I think about how games have gone. I've helped Steve Baker out a bit, and Darren, the main coaches, a little bit in training. I think I've done a session and a half maybe on certain aspects. But it's it's sort of it's another opinion. So I don't go in the dugout. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I choose to take myself away. I always go in the gantry next to Dom, and the reason being is I can see things from there. You don't. Yeah. If number one, you've got a better view, but also number two is sometimes when you detach from the dugout, you detach from the pitch, you take the emotion out. You literally just see what's going on in front of you. So I can see things. I can see their shape. I can see things that are happening on the pitch that might happen. I can see our shape. So Saturday, for example, I was delighted. I can understand from a supporter perspective, it was a bit drab. No one was really playing open attacking football. They certainly didn't. But all I was looking at the things that we'd worked on in training and the message that had gone over in the change room previously. I was purely looking at that. And from that point of view, Saturday was a massive success. From the goals we conceded previous, I think the players, and credit to them, I think they did superbly to take that into the game against a side from a league higher. And so, yeah.
This sort of analysis that you're doing through game by game, is it sort of helping sort of decide what to do in training and how to sort of do things better in training?
Yeah,
Ready for games.
Well, you can go. So pro clubs will film everything. They will film literally everything, and they will also plan everything. And so the reason that a lot of clubs are turning to this is kids these days. A lot of their learning is visual. A lot of their learning is on laptops, iPads, and things like this. And unlike sort of our generation and above, verbal communication, they don't respond to it nearly as well as what we would. You know, we're used to it. So if you've got Spencer, Spencer will do 90% of the match day talking, with the exception of Steve Baker will talk briefly at half time, and I'll do my presentation at the moment before a game, which can last not only 10 minutes, because I don't really like going any more than that because players start to get bored. But so if you're just doing verbal communication, then you can almost certainly guarantee that a good percentage of players, they will not be able to visualise what you're saying, and it just goes straight over their head. It just goes straight over their head. They cannot fathom what you're talking about, and they need to be shown. So what a load of other coaches will do is, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, is you turn to the whiteboard, you turn to the magnets and the little point, and you move them around. Even that vision, that a whiteboard and a magnet, even if it's the right colour, to a lot of players that doesn't visualise them and what they do on the pitch. It's not green. It's not, it's not them. I mean, Hartley Wintney, I thought we were advanced. We use Subbuteo. We would use Subbuteo. No, seriously. And so
really?
We would go out as far as like getting the right colours. Player skin tone. You know, we would actually have the right skin tone for that player, just to help, just to ensure every margin that we could possibly get out of that group of players was met. And so it is going more and more that way. Unfortunately, we don't quite have the resources to be doing it wholly at training. That might be for our level of the fact that we will train. So 2 hours last night, 2 hours tomorrow night, give or take. It might be a little bit overkill, but the most important factor is like I say, you look at the past, you look at the failures, you look at the successes, you look at the opposition, the upcoming opposition, and then you put a plan in place visually that's then later reinforced verbally, and that gives you every chance of winning on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Have you seen from what you're doing? Obviously, you mentioned Saturday's game.
Yeah,
just gone. Have you seen the benefits of it already? Do you think?
Yeah. This is the problem. You can never quantify exactly. So Steve Baker did a really good session on the Wednesday, the Monday or the Wednesday before, and we worked for a long duration with just that defensive shape. So that's the other thing as well is we haven't done that much attacking stuff, because it's vitally important that you get your defensive structure in place. That's the hardest thing, and then we can start really sort of hammering down. Which again, because of the way we've structured pre-season, we've got two sessions now to really start. Of course, we have done attacking stuff. We're not just going to go right. We're going to do purely defensive stuff for 5 weeks, and then we're just going to touch on attacking stuff at the end. But where we change shapes as well, it's hard. So we're just going to now sort of focus on that, and I think we'll see the benefit. Really see the benefits of it. But yeah, go back to your question. Absolutely, we have. Absolutely, we have. I think Saturday. And it's only going to get better as well, because the players will get more and more used to it. We'll look at exactly what we're doing, what's the best time to do it, when's the best time to do it, whenever the player's going to absorb it best. Is it, what timings exactly? And I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah, it was a good. It was a good performance on Saturday. I thought we. Don't know. I'd like your thoughts on it as well, Anthony, if you don't mind afterwards. But
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good, solid performance. I thought first half was quite even, but I thought we edged it. And second half, I thought we. I mean, really, Eastleigh didn't really create that many chances. I don't think. I think they had maybe one or two. Jackson made one really good save first half, and then obviously their goal was a bit of a ricochet, it's a bit unfortunate. But I can't really remember any other real gilt-edged chances that they created against us, really. So I was quite pleased with it.
I agree. And I mean, Jack's great save was off a corner or a set piece, if I remember correctly. It's not.
Yeah, it kind of got clear, didn't it? The guy hit it from the edge of the box through a crowd of players.
Yeah, not something that they created in open play. Likewise, their goal. Their goal came from a free kick, and then ball came back out. We went to press it, got something on it, ricochet, and scored from it. But so I'm up there in that gantry and I'm looking at it. Don't get me wrong. There'll always be things. I mean, I've got a long list of good and bad. So what I'll do is I will go through probably tomorrow night. Actually, the most important factors. It's vital that we don't bore the players. If I produce a hour-long presentation with every bad thing they've done in the game and then a few good things, I'm going to lose them. It'll bore the life out of them and they won't remember any of it come Saturday. But if we focus on the good things that came on Saturday, which was primarily the shape, as you mentioned, we were pretty... They didn't create... This is a side, okay, they rested 5 or 4. Okay, we rested 2. But you'd still expect them to ask more questions than what they did, based on the fact that they're level up. Excuse me, fellas, how rude is this? My phone's going off. I didn't put it to silent. So the shape was really, really good. The midfield shape in particular, from you look at the first half against Charlton, it was far improved, and we still maintained an attacking threat. I always thought we were going to win the game. And then the second half again, further information. We were able to interact with the players at half time, hear their thoughts. What's going on? What do you think? We're able to heart that further, and we should have won the game by Mason's hit the post.
Yes.
You look at the defensive performance from Saturday, from the Charlton game first half to the Charlton game second half to Eastleigh first half, Eastleigh second half. You can see gradual improvements. So, and that's within no, it was the same shape both games. I'm lying to myself there, but so in the same shape we can see these improvements. We know you get Dom Polium back on the pitch. Nothing, and that's we've got great attacking threat with Mason, Dom, Rax, Frank, Frank's done really well. I think we've got every right to be optimistic about this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think also what you touched on there about not boring the players. I think that's part and parcel of good coaching and good strategy, because you kind of you don't want, like you say, you don't want to be boring the players. So sometimes you just got to pick 2 or 3 things that are most important and try and work on things, and maybe pick a few good points, a few bad points, and try and get the players to work on that. Otherwise, you are going to lose their interest, aren't you? They're not going to take it in. So I think it's kudos to all you guys. You're very experienced people, so you kind of you look at kind of 1 or 2 things and try and work on those. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Excellent, good. And end of interview. Thank you very much. Right. No, like I said, we have got really good attacking threat. I was going to ask you, apart from obviously Frank, who you've mentioned, who's new, Frank Case, who's just come in. Well, he's been with us all summer really, but he's just officially signed as our trialist number 11. But is there any players in particular in the Farnborough squad that have really impressed you? Maybe ones to look for, a few dark horses, maybe.
I don't see. This is the problem, is I don't know who's signed and who hasn't. I don't know who's still on the dry list.
Well, no, I don't think there is anymore. I think we've got, so obviously Kai Jennings has come in. He just got announced the other day. He's on loan from FC Wimbledon. I was quite impressed with him, by the way, on Saturday. I thought he did really well.
That was the best game. And the thing with Kai as well is Kai's probably more. He's probably more number 10.
Yeah.
And he wasn't playing as a 10. But what really impressed me was his work ethic. And again, this tactical information we gave him, he absolutely got it nailed on, and he worked so hard. You could see in little moments, you could see his quality with the ball. I think, bearing in mind he's only a young man, I think he's only going to get better. I think that midfield of him, Cooley and Billy, I think that's a really busy midfield. And then again, you've got others that can come into that. Rene has been Rene's a player. He's been a good pro. He's been a good pro over in Austria. He's come back.
He's travelled about a bit. He's a bit like yourself, really. He's travelled around quite a bit in his football career, hasn't he?
He has, and he's no nonsense, but he knows the game. And then you're looking at, depending on what formation you play, you can move Kai up. You've got Frank who scored a lot of goals, and he's been around the level without really being step two for a while, and always been successful. I think he's gone under the radar, but he is a really intelligent number 10. And then you've got the boys up top. The boys up top, they're going to score goals. You can see it in that performance against Charlton, where they rightfully, for me, took the lead. I thought they're the better side for at least the no, probably not. But when they took the lead, I think they deserved it. And then within they make one mistake. Ball lands with Rax. Rax plays a good pass, great movement. Dom draws players in, little back heel to Mace. Mace slams it in the net. That's what those three can do. They are devastating, and you've got everything there. You've got physicality, you've got pace, you've got power, you've got know-how. That's massive at any level.
It's talking on the free strikers. I think a lot of Farnborough fans probably looked at it and thought, oh, it'll be maybe 2 out of the 3 playing. So maybe Mason will sit on the bench for the first few games because he's been out a little while, and they'll play Rax and Dom up front. But do you think the 3 of them can play together in the same forward line, or do you think Rax?
I think so. So obviously it's going to be shape dependent. We had a go at that on Tuesday. With some success. Like I said, they carried a threat from out. All 3 of them are good, honest lads as well. I know that's a football cliche, and everyone goes, "Oh, they're good, honest lads," but they will work. And also, there is ego. It has to be. You have to have some level of ego to be that good a player. But they'll also, the 3 of them they'll understand the way the shape will work. It requires certain things of one of them, and there needs to be an element of defensive work, and for large parts, to their detriment, I would add as well, on Tuesday, a number of them are out of position, looking to cover for their teammates, and really deep, which isn't where we want them. It's not part of the failing on Tuesday, actually, on the first half. But they did it. They didn't complain, and they did it, and that's where you tip your hat and go, these lads, if we can solve the problem and look to keep them as high as possible, which they'll also come up with solutions themselves. And with their experience, you've got to listen. If they see something that perhaps we don't, you don't need to be the smartest man in the building. You go, okay, yeah, all right, that can work. Let's try that. So I think we can come up with something. And I know. If we give those 3 good service and keep them high on the football pitch, they will score goals.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know Mason quite well. He's been around the club a few years now. It's just their second spell with us. He's a really good player when he's fit and he's firing. And obviously Rax and Dom are 2 really good professionals. They've been around the game, been in this level a couple of times, won the league as well. So they're all really good players. I see you dodged my question about a dark horse in the squad. So you've done well there. What do you think? What do you think about Nomas coming in? Is he? What's he like as a player and a lad?
Louis, people know, maybe they forget. Louis was national North Premier League. He was. What was he? Yeah, National Premier League Player of the season. Not season gone. Not last season. The season before that.
Yeah, it was Brackley, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. So this is clearly a player. Congratulations to him, by the way. He's just had a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've now got 4 centre halves at the club, which is Louis, Ali, Robbo, and Lockie, and so that gives us the potential to go either a 3 or 4 at the back. So we can mix it up, and then obviously you've got Ben Greenwood one side, you've got Bradshaw, Luch. Who else? And Louis can play down the right hand side. Yeah, we've got loads of options. But not to skip your question, who do I think is going to be the dark? And obviously not forget Jack as well, who's been a wonderful goalkeeper. He was the scourge. He was the scourge of Hartley Wintney a couple of years ago when we came over at Easter, and I thought Hartley played superbly well. You guys were going for promotion. I wanted to come and upset the apple cart, and we met Jack Turner that day, and he pulled off save after save. But it's one of them where I just go, you know what, fair play.
He is a bit like that, and he's kind of like got this reputation now. We're soon, including with Spencer's mentioned it a few times already in pre-season. That Jack pulls off his obligatory wonder save every game. So it does seem to happen quite often, doesn't it?
No, he's a great lad, and I love working with these boys. But who do I think is going to be the dark horse? Maybe. See, if I said Billy was going to be the dark horse, I think that's too obvious.
Yeah, you can't go away with that one.
You know, because he comes with that reputation. So maybe Kai. I think maybe Kai.
Yeah.
Because he has got that pedigree, and I know a load of AFC Wimbledon fans, and they've all said, no disrespect to us or Farnborough, they've said, I can't believe you've got him. So he could be the one.
Yeah, he did look good on Saturday, to be fair. And we spoke to Spencer pre-season a few weeks back, and he did mention he was trying to get someone in from FC Wimbledon. So I did a bit of digging about on the website, and I found his profile, and then he appeared on this team sheet, and I thought I put the face to a picture and thought that must be him. So I did a bit of digging, but yeah, he looks good, and like you said, he worked on Saturday. He worked really hard. I saw him covering around on the edge of his 18-yard box a couple of times, running back, following people about, so tracking runners, etc. So yeah, all bodes well.
Yeah.
Well, look, Anthony, before we let you go, I want to ask you one quick question. And I know like you said off the podcast, that you don't really know the level. This is your first time at Step 2. You don't really know a lot of the teams in the league yet. But based on what you know that we have got in the squads, what's your prediction for us as a team? Where do you think, realistically, based on what we've got, where you think we can come?
I would like to think that, and so I came over less last season than I did the season before, but I have seen Farmer sides at Step 2. I think at the moment we're carrying less flair than what we maybe did last season. However, I think we've got probably more know-how. I think we can be more pragmatic with what we've got. So based on that, those two qualities, the ones I've mentioned latter, they normally overrule the first one. So I think we can improve on last season. Quite how far that goes, because and even if you got Spencer on here, there's always that element of the unknown this time of season. You don't know. Pre-season's always false. You've got sides doing mental things and not picking up results, who then go and start the season like a train. But all that aside, I think I would like to think, and I'm confident we can improve on last season. And if we do that, then there was excitement this season with maybe getting the playoffs, good FA Cup runs, all the rest of it. Let's see if we can improve that. Let's see if we can give fans something to be positive about, and we can keep the season going as long as possible.
Yeah, I think for us, obviously an improvement on last season would be first and foremost, ideally. But I think last season, the disappointment of going out of the cups so early was quite disappointing to all the fans. So I think a good cup run in the FA Cup and Trophy would be really good. Not only for the fans, obviously, because it gives them potential away games to go to, but obviously for the club financially it certainly helps a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They'd be down there, down at Eden bookmakers on the old Hartley Wintney High Street. Where stick a fiver on Farnborough to win it.
I'm not allowed to bet on any games.
Yeah, you shouldn't be endorsing that, Simon.
Yeah, I can't help myself. My Coral sponsorship up for renewal, so I've got to do my best what I can, you know.
But you'll see, you will see Mr. Harry Cooksley down there, no doubt, when he gets back from Love Island. That was one.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm not a Love Island follower.
Neither am I.
So, I think he's doing all right though. And I think is he still in it?
I think he's finished now.
Yeah.
I think it's finished.
Oh yeah, the final last night, I think, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't even know who won, so I don't know how he got on, but yeah.
Right. Anyway, Anthony, thanks for coming. We'll let you go. Thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm sure we'll see you at a few games throughout the season. We'll make sure we'll stop and say hello. But thanks for coming on and giving us a little insight into your career so far.
Anytime, fellas.
Yeah, thanks, Willis. Basically, I also wanted to say, just make sure you tell Dom if you're sitting in that gantry with him, make sure he brings the Haribo sweets with you and a couple of hot chocolates. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Come on. Cheers. Let's take care. See you Saturday.
Take care. Cheers, Jack.
Yeah, take care yourself.
Cheers.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, hang on, boys. I'm not out yet.
Oh, he's got his thumb there.
There we go. That's it.
What
a great guest. What a great guest he was.
Yeah, really good. That's what happens. It was a lot live recordings. That's what happens. See, there you go. We'll leave all the outtakes on this podcast.
I'm not going to edit that out either. So,
No.
What a great guest he was. A fantastic sort of insight into his career so far, and into what's going on at our club with him.
Yeah,
on board.
anyone who tunes in and listens to it, I hope they enjoy it because it's quite good. Yeah, he does what he might admit to himself that he waffles on a bit, but we don't mind that when he's talking sense.
No, we don't mind that when we've got a good guest on. We don't mind having a waffle on because essentially that's what you guys that are watching us. That's what you guys want to see. That's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear us waffling on, but for the next 5 or so minutes, you are going to hear us waffling on because this stage of the podcast of this episode is for us to we're going to go over a little bit about some of our little predictions. We're not going to go too heavy on this, Simon. Okay, so I don't want to know where everyone's coming from 1st to 24th.
I have prepared copious notes on the subject.
No, I don't need copious notes. So what I want from you, Simon, is firstly I want your prediction for Farnborough for us as a club.
Put me on the spot. Well, I was going to say 23rd up until about 3 weeks ago, but no. I think in all honesty, what Miller's said there, and it seems like, and I've watched, unlike someone else who I won't mention, has watched quite a few of the pre-season friendlies this season, and they have, and as Miller pointed out there, we have progressed throughout the games, and we're getting better and better. And I was quite impressed on Saturday with the performance. Shame we only had like 500 fans there, but there we go. It is holiday season after all, and it was a really good performance. And we actually played really well against Eastleigh, and they didn't, as I said, they didn't create a lot, and that's because we were really determined. And what Millers has said there is actually bang on. We might have lost a little bit of flair in people like Joe Haig and Reggie leaving, but we've recruited really well in respects of being know-how and pragmatism and defensive qualities.
He's gone for a bit of experience as well, a bit of league experience, not just in our league, but in the league above.
If we remember, cast our minds back 3 seasons where we went through experience, and it all went a bit tits up. But
there's a fine line between it, but it seems like now that sort of experience seems to be working for us.
Yeah, we've gone through experience, but not to the point where players are kind of on their last legs experience, if you know what I mean. That's no disrespect to those players who came in. They just didn't fit. Didn't fit. It wasn't the right time for the club. It was. So anyway, not I'm trying to skirt your question. I think I would like to see us 7th. I think we might end up only, but that is purely because I would be more. I'll be less sort of pragmatic about our finishing position if the league wasn't as strong as it is this season, because it's definitely stronger than it was last season, and that last season's league was stronger than the season before that. It seems to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger every year. The teams that come down are better and better and better, in my opinion. And we've got. I think
you're right. The league has got stronger and stronger every year, and so it should really, because with the teams coming down, and the teams coming up, and the teams obviously with the teams that are sticking around like us, but I think this season we seem to have managed that strength around us and the teams around us by strengthening really, really well
Yeah.
ourselves.
What I was
And
going to
like
mention
you,
too,
I think we'll be seventh or minimum eighth. I think.
yeah,
I think
eighth would be a real shame, wouldn't it? Again, but
it would be again. Yeah, it would be again. But
yeah,
that would still be a
yeah,
marked improvement from last season.
yeah. Yeah, but I think that's what I was going to mention also. Millers, I think, was trying to maybe possibly hint at is our away form has always dogged us a little bit the last few seasons. But I think with the players we've recruited and the way that we possibly are going to play, and especially certainly in defensive areas, I think a lot of Farnborough fans will have quite a few happy away days this season because possibly more than home ones because we will be able to match teams at home. I think last season we ended up we had too many kind of sort of maybe not I was going to say fancy Dans, but that's not really the right term. I think it's more sort of less physical players, shall we say, more sort of diminutive, sort of technical ones. Whereas now we have still got a bit of that, but we've also got a bit of power about us, a bit of know-how,
that
and
physicality,
and experience is really what we need. So I think and the fact we can quite easily change between a three at the back or a five possibly if we need to hold on to something, and possibly playing a 4-3-3 or a 4-5-1, and things like that, or playing just a three at the back with five in midfield. We can do all of that. So Spencer's got loads of options. I think that's part and parcel and key to his recruitment this summer has been that we can try and get different formations and change things around a bit and can probably confuse teams more than anything and really scupper teams from coming forward. So yeah, I think we'll I hope two things I hope we get this season. Hope we can make the playoffs, and secondly our away form is better. That would be two things I would like to see improve.
Right. Next, I don't want any lengthy explanations on this because we're already running over an hour, I think, on this episode. But we'll start off with the bottom four.
Yeah.
Are we going to pick the obvious choices here in the teams that come up?
Well, if you want a quick answer, yes.
So I'm thinking teams like Horsham. I think maybe Enfield Town could probably be down there.
Dover.
Have a look. Dover. Yeah, I think Dover. I haven't seen a lot of stuff
and
going
on. They've already admitted, haven't they, that they're probably punching above their weight this season, and they're not looking to try and compete. Yeah. That doesn't bode well when you say that right at the start of pre-season. I think for me. So
no.
But we have also heard a lot from Dover fans that I've read about, and also on the wire that they're quite happy keeping their forward line. The forward line is going to be quite exciting. So you might see a lot of goals with Dover. You might see a lot of maybe threes. Yeah. They might score a lot, but I can see them conceding a lot as well. So it could be entertaining at Dover this year at Crabbies. Yeah. I think Enfield and Dover for me. Chippenham, I think will struggle a little bit, even though they've got one of our former strikers up front we had on loan. Name escapes me for some reason. And also Freddie Grant's there. And Bath
for the bottom four.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't think.
What do you reckon about AFC Tottenham though? Because I know they're obviously spending a bit.
They could be down there. I mean, I know I only need four. I've already named about eight. I know I've named about eight, but Bath as well. I think might struggle. But my bottom. So I'll go my bottom four. I'll take Dover, Enfield,
Horsham.
Horsham, and we'll go Slough.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think I'd agree with you there.
It could be quite tight. I think you might see it.
Yeah, I think Slough is another team that we haven't really. I think not that I've paid much attention. I haven't really seen a lot of transfer action coming in, and obviously they have made some transfers coming in. And
again, it all depends on the loan system as well. Where they use the loan system to get some really good players. Yeah. That's what Hemel did last year. They got a couple of good strikers in, and obviously they've loaned Miller. They've got Miller full time this year as well. Hemel, they loaned him at the end of last season as well. So yeah, it depends. They've obviously brought Jack Bateson in as well. Hemel, so they'll it depends on where you use the system. I think so. That could be a deciding factor. But as things stand, that'd be my bottom four.
Yeah,
I think Chesham will struggle as well. It could be between.
I think Chesham will struggle. Obviously, we know someone. We know a fan. I work with one of their fans.
Yeah. How's he been? He's got his 6 foot of rope ready? Has he?
I think he's doing okay. I think he's doing okay at the minute, but I don't. Again, they're another club that I don't think they've lost more players and more good players than they've brought in. I think.
Yeah,
I think,
that
like you said, I
was
think
my fault.
struggle. I think there'll be maybe that last space probably could go between them and maybe Slough.
Yeah, I think actually we've people look at it and think, oh, we got two really tough home games to start with in Eastbourne and then Worthing on the Wednesday. But in between that, we got the first away game is Chesham. That could be a really good away.
That's going to be no effect. I mean, like we've just said that we think Chesham will be down near the bottom, but away from home on that pitch, they're going to be a tough team to play against.
Yeah,
they're quite direct.
Yeah, I think fortunately we got to play them. They would have done a lot of work on the pitch in the summer as well to get it up to stand. So it won't be like it was last year, where it's quite dusty and hard and bobbly. Yeah. And at least it'll be a decent.
I think we've got enough about us to get a very decent result,
especially with the players we brought in as well. That's what I mean about our away form. I think we could.
Yeah,
I think we could.
Exactly.
Well, I'm hopeful we can win our first 10 games and be clear at Christmas. That's my plan.
Right, the top 7. Look, I don't want to go through every because
I'm not going to try and predict 7 because I won't get it right.
I think aside from the obvious, like the professional clubs that are in our division, you've got talking about the likes of Dorking, Chelmsford now, or a pro club, Ebbsfleet,
Dagenham.
Eastbourne will be up there, I think.
Yeah, Dagenham. I don't know. I think Eastbourne could be a bit. Yeah, they might fall away. I've got a funny feeling. They changed the manager, haven't they? And it's all been a bit upheaval.
Players go, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They've probably
will no doubt be there thereabouts. Maidstone, Maidenhead. What I want to know from you, Simon, who aside from Farnborough, who in this division, when you pick a team that you think could be that sort of dark horse to break into the playoffs? Because we all saw when no one predicted Truro.
Hornchurch.
Sorry?
Hornchurch.
Yeah. Break into that playoffs place.
Maybe, yeah. They've recruited well. Dan McMahon's manager, former Farnborough player. They're also Spencer's. I think they're Spencer's dark horses as well to do well. For what I gathered from him, having spoke to him a few times since we interviewed him. So I'd say Hornchurch would be mine, and it's probably not. I think I'm more sort of honing in on teams that have been up there for the last few years that might struggle, and one of them is possibly Worthing, possibly and as I previously mentioned, Eastbourne Borough. Those two may struggle. They could be teams you look at the end of September thinking they're struggling, they're just above the relegation zone, that sort of thing, and they haven't hit the ground running. They could be, or a big surprise for me would be Bath, but they've got the potential to do it. Because I see them struggling more than gaining momentum and being up there this year for me. I hope also that Maidstone do better because they've got a really good fan base. I like George Ellacobi as a manager, and I think really the last 2 seasons, all in all, if you ask their fan base, they've probably underperformed, and they were expecting more, and they haven't made it. They got to the obviously playoff final last year and got beat, but I'd like to see them do well, and I think they might. But again, they've sort of slipped under the radar a little bit with some of their signings. Obviously, Lexus Speeding's down there, but they have slipped under the radar a bit. But with some of their signings, but they could I wouldn't say surprise, but I think they could have a good season. I hope they do.
I think for me, potentially the team that could sort of break into that playoff spot, those playoff spots. For me, and this is based on because the guy that's managing is a good manager. He came in last season and turned their fortunes around because I'm talking about Hemel Town here.
Yeah,
He turned their fortunes around.
Lee Allenson, good manager.
They were down the bottom, down in the dumps. They weren't getting the results, and then he came in, changed a few things around, got rid of a few players, brought in some players that he knew that could listen and perform the way he wants them to perform. Players that are experienced, and he turned them around and he got them up and up the table.
I remember that game. I mean, they came down our place and turned us over. And I was watching him the second half, and he was really, really good. And he was very good on the touchline. He's quite animated on the touchline.
Yeah.
But a really good manager. He's got. They plucked him from a lower league team. I can't think who it was now.
Was it Hendon? Hendon?
Yeah, it may have been. Yeah, I think he's a manager. I think his dad is the assistant manager. I think that's where it works. But yeah, really good. Obviously, they had Ollie Lynch up front, who's a bit of a standout. He's at a National League side on loan. At the moment.
I think they've made some shrewd. I think they've made some shrewd signings this season, including Miller, who was with us last season. I think we'll do. I think we'll do well for them. I think he scored a few goals already in pre-season.
Yeah.
Under trialist F, I think it was.
I think the whole kind of transfer kind of compensation type thing that was going on with us. I think that's been resolved now. I think that's been resolved now. So yeah. But Jack Bateson going there as well. He's signed for them, hasn't he? So he's a good player.
Yeah, Bateson signed for them as well. Yeah. So they've made some really good. He's made some really shrewd signings who have experience at this level.
Yeah.
And I think Hemel will be my team as a dark horse for like that bottom spot. If it's not us, I think it'll be them.
Yeah, I've actually missed a few teams out of my possible relegation fodder.
We haven't got time, Simon.
No, we've got Western, Tonbridge, another two that might start. I think Western could have a bit of a relapse because they did really well last year and fell away. But I'm seeing a lot of business through them. I'm just going through the league table and I'm picking more and more teams here. I think it'd be all right if 10 could get relegated. I might get all 10, but I can't. So, yeah.
Listen, we haven't got time because we're already running.
It doesn't matter what I say anyway. It'll be completely wrong.
Exactly. We'll all be completely wrong, and we'll get picked apart for this from people that listen to.
Yeah, and I have done my best to mention every team once at least. So happy days.
Yeah. So basically, you want every team to be promoted and relegated.
Yeah. So basically, just bet on exactly everything that I've just said, but the opposite, because then you'll be quitting. Yeah.
Right. Listen, we've got to go. Thanks for coming on. If he's listening, if he's watching when this goes out, thanks to Millers for coming on. It was great chatting to him. Thanks, Simon, for coming on, and I hope you enjoyed that tonight.
You talking to me? Yeah, fine. Yeah,
I'm not talking to anyone else, am I?
No, I don't know. I thought you were still talking about Miller. I thought he's not here. What are you talking about? Yeah. Yeah, cheers. Hope as I said, looking forward to the season starting Saturday. I'll be there. Someone else who I won't mention won't be. But
I'm still on holiday, aren't I? So.
But I told you,
as you said at the top of the show, it's holiday season. So
you need to be like every other fan and sort of plan your holidays around the football season, like I do. But, anyway.
No. I think you and I both know that we don't want to be like every other fan. But look, that leaves me to say, and I'll get this right this time, unlike the top of the show. This episode was sponsored by Tratec Consulting, taking your business visions and turning them into innovative reality. For more information, visit tratecconsulting.co.uk. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back probably in a week or 2 weeks' time with another episode. Say good night, Simon.
Yeah, good night. Hopefully in 2 weeks' time we'll be top of the league.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
We'll see you soon.